Hi, good morning. What's up, Internet? This is the 7:34 from WCCO, and I'm Christiane Cordero. Hey, as you get ready to head to work, we are getting you started with today's weather. I have run out of things to say about the cold, and it is only December 18th. 6 whole degrees at noon, warming up to 12, 13 degrees later today. We're expecting some cloud cover, is what Riley O'Connor said this morning. Yep, that's what we're dealing with. Could be worse, right? Could always be worse. So take the hot dish out of the oven, bundle up, and get on with your Wednesday. It is a big day with all eyes on the historic vote on Capitol Hill. President Trump is expected to become just the 3rd president in U.S. history to be impeached. In about 90 minutes, the House will begin a day-long debate on 2 articles of impeachment. They are expected to pass mostly along party lines. Mostly, there is a caveat here in Minnesota. Democrat Colin Peterson is voting no. He's facing a tough re-election if he decides to run again next year, and some lawmakers in swing districts and states are also under the same amount of pressure. So we want to know, will this impeachment vote affect how you vote in 2020? We already know whether you stand on the right or the left. I'm sure everybody around your Thanksgiving table knows that too. But we want to know about this race in particular, or this vote in particular, how that affects next year's race for you. Where does it rank on the things you care about? Those watching on Facebook, leave a comment right here, and we'll get through a few of those in a moment. Hard to imagine how President Trump is feeling this morning, but you don't have to use your imagination, thanks, of course, to Twitter. He has tweeted several times this morning, starting with this: "Can you believe that I will be impeached today by the radical left, and I did nothing wrong? Read the transcripts. This should never happen to another president again. Say a prayer." Impeachment rallies were held in cities across the country last night. One of the biggest rallies was in Times Square. Protesters were also out in Chicago, San Francisco, and in St. Paul. Hundreds of people gathered at the Minnesota State Capitol. Not everyone was there to support the president's impeachment.
Frankly, I think this is just going to help Trump gain momentum. Nobody likes to see someone get bullied.
I hope that people take this really seriously, and think about it, and go back to really the laws. Why are we doing this?
Other people say they hope this rally makes Minnesotans pay attention to the impeachment proceedings. Stay tuned for that. From national legislation to a local one, we'll get an update on insulin affordability today at the state capitol. Republican and DFL lawmakers are trying to seal the deal on free emergency insulin. The price of insulin has skyrocketed over the past decade. Minnesota House Democrats have scheduled a public meeting at 1 p.m. Republicans have pushed back on public hearings, saying that they are instead making progress behind closed doors. A growing number of teenagers are choosing to vape marijuana. A new survey shows about 1 out of 5 high school students in the U.S. have vaped marijuana in the past year. The new report just out this morning found marijuana vaping has been growing faster than nicotine vaping, but vaping nicotine is still more popular. About 1 in 4 high schoolers said they have done it at least once in the previous year. St. Louis Park could become the first city in the state to ban the sale of vaping products in the new year. Right now, the city has approximately 20 businesses that sell tobacco, but only 8 of those sell vaping products. Each was given notice on the proposal.
We don't think for a minute that this really solves the entire problem of vaping in St. Louis Park by any stretch. We think that a problem of this size really takes lots of different small solutions.
I'm kind of torn because I have a child that likes to vape. I mean, she's 22, so she has her own choices.
The city council is expected to vote on the ordinance January 6th. A new report reveals who's paying the least and the most for rent in the Twin Cities. Minneapolis is the most expensive, according to renting website Zumper. A 1-bedroom unit there costs more than $1,300 a month. St. Louis Park, Eden Prairie were close behind. Roseville has the most affordable rent. A 1-bedroom is a little more than $1,000 a month. You can get to the state fair a little quicker in Roseville, too. Hey, despite being the most affordable city, St. Paul renters saw the biggest spike in costs. Rent prices rose 16% since this time last year. You know that massive water park the Mall of America is building? Well, today we're getting a close look at it, or at least renderings of it. Check out the arched glass ceiling. That big pool makes you dream of warmer weather, doesn't it? It would be one of the largest indoor water parks in North America, with a hefty price tag, around $250 million. Bloomington city officials say if the project stays on track, construction there could start early next year. Spirit Airlines knows it doesn't have the best reputation for comfort, so it's redesigning its cabin in hope that it would change that. The changes include more comfortable seats, a bigger tray tables. Spirit says the seats will offer 2 extra inches of usable legroom, and tray tables will now be full-sized. Right now, only one plane has gotten the makeover, but the plan is to make it available across the fleet. Star Wars fans can't wait to the new movie to open tomorrow. Here's your chance to get your fix early. Marcus Oakdale Cinema is showing a marathon of all 8 previous Star Wars episodes in case you have literally nothing else going on. It starts at 7 o'clock, runs until 7 tomorrow night, when The Rise of Skywalker officially debuts. I'm sure that actually would be a really cool experience if you're a super big Star Wars nerd there. Awesome. Twin Cities home is bursting with holiday spirit. Kevin Milton has 42 full-size trees and a dozen of small ones throughout his home. Each one has specific decorations telling the story of his life and his husband's life. Kevin says he loves seeing what the decorations and Christmas season do for people. The trees are packed up and kept in 2 rooms for the rest of the year. Let's get back to today's talker. We're bringing in WCCO's digital guy, Cole. Cole,
Howdy.
I can't imagine we would get any comments on this whatsoever.
I mean, this isn't a controversial subject
No,
at all.
not a little bit.
We have Mary saying, the vote will not affect my vote. I will still support our president. We have Paul saying it sure will affect my vote. We have Ann saying impeach him already. We have Becca saying I'm in for this impeachment. I think it'll affect how I vote. And we have Elaine Ritter saying new president 2020. And a lot of people's, support on either side.
Yeah, sure. And people are fired up about it on either side, on both sides, really. It may or may not affect how you vote on your local races or maybe even the national one, but it certainly is a moment in history, so we'll be watching for that. Thank you, Cole.
But it's good that people are keeping it nice on our comments.
Yes,
Yeah.
Minnesota nice.
Yeah.
You can always count on it. That's it for now. This is the 734 from WCCO, and most of the Twin Cities are on the go, so go ahead and make us your place for mobile news. We'll be back here tomorrow at 7:34 when it is maybe a little bit warmer, maybe not. Until then, be nice to each other out on the internet.